We're going to go ahead and start this live update here in just a few minutes, as some of you begin to join us here. Please do let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Alright, anyways, let's get started here. This is Jacob Melton live here of West Michigan Weather. And the National Weather Service in Grand Rapids has issued a severe thunderstorm warning this afternoon. And this is for portions of Ingham, Clinton, and Eaton counties in south central Michigan. This is for the southwestern half of Ingham County. This is for like the southwestern corner of the most part of Clinton County, and also for the eastern sections of Eaton County. This includes the areas around Grand Ledge, southwest side of Lansing, Potterville, Charlotte, Eaton Rapids, the Brookfield area over towards Onondaga. It also goes towards the Holt and Mason areas. And this warning is primarily for the potential of wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour and hail up to quarter size in diameter. This is from the National Weather Service. Again, a severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern Ingham County, south central Clinton County, and eastern Eaton County in south central Michigan. This goes until 5:45 p.m. this afternoon. At 4:41 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Grand Ledge, or 10 miles to the west of Lansing. And give me just a second here. Looks like Jonah can join me here, so give me just a second. Bear with me here. Bear with me here while we get him in here.
How you guys doing?
Alright, bear with me just a second.
Well, Jacob gets that figured out. As he was saying, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for portions of eastern Eaton County, western Ingham County, and far southern Clinton County, to include the southwestern part of the Lansing Metro, all of Grand Ledge, all of Potterville, all of Diamonddale, all of Eaton Rapids, and the eastern half of the community of Charlotte there in Eaton County. You guys are about to get hit by this severe thunderstorm. Do have a spotter that just went through there, a member of the community that just drove through there. They didn't report any hail at the time, but this is warned for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds.
And so with new scan coming in, if there is going to be any hail looking at this, I would tend to think it would be north of the Potterville area, east of Needmore there. That is where we're showing an area of higher reflectivities. Up to around 67 dBz. That's starting to get up there. Now, And as you can see at the bottom, we are testing out a new alert scroll that there is some things that we'll have to work through over time as well with that. So, but you can see it is going through scrolling with the severe thunderstorm warning and a couple other special weather statements that we will discuss as well. Let's go ahead actually real quick. We're on the reflectivity or how hard is it raining mode. Let's go over to velocity real quick. And I'm not seeing anything obviously concerning, but I am seeing some signs, if anything, maybe some downbursts potential there.
Yeah, definitely right near Potterville there, just north
Yep.
of Potterville again.
Yeah. Again, thing is, we are a couple thousand feet up from this radar as well, so this is the Grand Rapids radar, so about 3,000 feet, give or take, so. But, again, if we're going to see any gusty to potentially damaging winds, it will be north of the Potterville area, south of Grand Ledge, and that will eventually be taking it towards the east side of Charlotte, over towards the Eaton Rapids area down the line. Just so again, if you are in this severe thunderstorm warning, what I need you to do is definitely get indoors, preferably away from windows, and preferably on the lowest floor if you can get there in an interior room. There's In addition to the potential for quarter-size hail and damaging wind gusts, there is very frequent lightning going on with this storm as well. So if there's no other reason to get inside, it's because of that. So
Yeah.
So
Watching that reflectivity scan there near Potterville, I thought maybe for a frame or two there might have been a little bit of a three-body scatter spike starting there. I don't see it in this most recent scan, but
we can go back a little bit and maybe something north of near heading towards Grand Ledge there. That's a possibility.
yeah, there is that boundary right there, which might just be making it look like a little bit of contamination. Maybe, but
that very well could be too. But yeah, you can see there is this boundary, which here I'll try and illustrate that. This right here is your boundary that is going into this storm. So that can sometimes get these to flare up a little bit as well, but again, the severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for basically southwestern and western areas of Ingham County, the eastern half, give or take, of Eaton County, and a little bit of southwestern Clinton County until 5:45 this afternoon.
Yep. And if you're watching from Clinton County near the Eagle area there, the storm has moved off to your south already. So you guys are in the clear there in Clinton County. Even if you're in Grand Ledge, you're in the clear at this point.
Yep. Of course, maybe stick around inside for a few more minutes just in case of a rogue lightning strike or anything like that. But most of the storm is passed south of the Grand Ledge area, is heading through the Potterville area right now, heading into Diamonddale towards the Kingsland area, and eventually down the line it will be heading towards the Eaton Rapids, the Charles Wharf area, and Onondaga down the line as well. If you are in the Lansing area, I will say the heaviest part of this cell is going to be passing to the southwest of you. You're seeing potentially some heavier downpours, maybe some lightning as well, but the strongest portion of this storm, with the damaging winds and hail and potential hail, should be passing just to your southwest, more towards the Potterville and Diamonddale areas. So okay, it looks like they just updated that severe thunderstorm warning to take out the Grand Ledge and that southwestern portion of Clinton County that was in there. So
yep. We also have a special weather statement in effect for Branch County. The storm is largely out of Branch County at this point, but especially if you're south of Kinderhook or south of California there in Branch County, you want to continue to remain indoors for another few moments here until that stronger storm moves off into Indiana.
So really, if you're along and south of the East Copeland Road area between Kinderhook and California, that is really where the heaviest portion of this storm is passing through right now. towards the Southern Road area and Stokes Road, east of the I-69, east of Interstate 69 there near Kinderhook. Again, this will be passing out of across the state line into northeast Indiana over the next several minutes. This special weather statement is for the potential of pea-sized hail and wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour. And that is in addition to the heavy downpours and, again, frequent lightning ongoing with this cell as well. We'll take a look at velocity real quickly on this, and if you're seeing it, and honestly, the gustier winds, at least if we're looking at this, that's crossing the state line pretty much right now. So, and over in the northeast Indiana. So, again, if you're near the Kinderhook area, point south and east, just remain indoors over the next several minutes. Let the storm pass on out of here. The storm is moving southeast at about 20. So, just give it a few minutes. Let this clear out. And then we do have some other really they're just okay, we have a lightning strike near Olivet. None of this activity towards the Eaton-Berry County line, up towards the Lowell area, Clarksville, Freeport. None of this is severe right now. Just some showers, maybe one bolt thunder or two, but we are watching this activity closely.
Yeah, especially with that boundary there. It looks like there's another sort of outflow boundary of some kind or something to that effect near Caledonia and Middleville there. So
yeah, this is something we have been watching, and again, we don't expect this to be a widespread severe issue or anything like that. In fact, I can show you here. We're not even in a marginal or any severe weather risk per the Storm Prediction Center. But even on these general thunderstorm days, sometimes you can get some mesoscale factors like a boundary interaction or something like that, and that can cause these storms to flare up briefly. So,
and I think that's exactly what's going on here.
Yep, that is, because you can see our outflow boundary here near the Sunfield area, stretching just to the north of Charlotte. That's going into this storm here, and that can enhance the shear and whatnot and cause it to flare up a little bit more than what you normally expect. So,
again, and I will say it seems to be weakening a little bit. It still have some reflectivity values around 60 dB there near Potterville, but
yeah, near the West Windsor and Raleigh Drain area, west of Diamonddale. That's where we're seeing those potential values. I have, around 58, 59. Yep,
58.
So, again, that's where our strongest part of the storm is right now, near the Potterville area, heading towards the Kingsland area over the next few minutes, down towards the Eaton Rapids, and eventually the Onondaga area. But we'll go ahead and, oops. All right. We'll go for a few scans here. You can see the storm first developed over there in near the Ionia, Montcalm County lines. And as you can see, as it pushed off to the south and east, you can see where the outflow boundary evolved there near the Ionia area, over towards, basically from Lyons to Ionia up towards Belding. As we continue on here, you can see it interacts with that boundary and starts to pick up a little bit near the Portland area. That's where it really starts to pick up. And then as it moves through the Grand Ledge area, that picked up a little bit more. That's where we had the special weather statement that was there. And then as it passed through the Grand Ledge area, that's where we got the severe thunderstorm warning. So you see it interacts with that boundary. That allows it to just get that little bit of extra punch that would ultimately require severe thunderstorm warning for potential 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and still quarter-size hail. Although I will say over the last few scans, I do think it's starting to back off just a tad.
Yeah, probably become an outflow dominant.
Yeah. In fact, we'll look here at velocity just to confirm. And yeah, I will say we are seeing some signs of gustier winds pretty much right over the Potterville area, just north of there. That is where we're seeing the potential for probably some downburst winds that could potentially reach up to 60 miles per hour there. I will just for another. Detroit radar is showing a similar picture there, so
And I don't know if this shows up on your end there, Jacob, but our Branch County storm near Kinderhook, there's what we call an out of the blue strike right near Kinderhook there, out of the reflectivity.
Yeah, they're near the Canada Shores area.
Yeah, and that's why we're saying remain sheltered. Even if it's not raining where you're at, you can still have those lightning strikes. Even once the storm has moved off to your south and it's not raining anymore. So continue to remain sheltered there for several more minutes.
Yep. I will say, since we're on the cell, again, we'll continue to get across the state line and go over there into northeast Indiana towards the Fremont area over the next few minutes. But again, even though the storm is moving out of your area, you can see we do get these out of the blue strikes. I will go ahead and try and highlight that a little bit better. This is what we were talking about here near the Canada Shores area. We could get these out of the blue strikes that is just as dangerous as the lightning within the storm. So again, do remain inside over the next several minutes as the storm passes. And once the last rumble of thunder, give it a few more minutes, and then you should generally be okay. But again, the storm is not severe at this time, but just a little special weather statement is a stronger storm with wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour and pea-sized hail. But that will be moving out of southeastern Branch County and in northeast Indiana over the next several minutes. In fact, it is just about moved into northeast Indiana, at least the strongest portion of this storm. Taking another look at our severe thunderstorm warning. We'll be resolving that scroll issue here momentarily. But anyway, again, the strongest part of this storm, well south of Grand Ledge. In fact, you're not in the severe thunderstorm warning. If you're in the Diamondale area, it is starting to pass your area as well. Again, I think the strongest portion of the storm passed just to your west, but do still remain inside. In fact, we have another out of the blue lightning strike there, just out as it's outside of the heavier reflectivity.
Western Eaton County might start getting something there near Olivet. Yep. Well, that's going up really quick there near Calamo, heading towards Bellevue and all of that.
Yep, so we'll be keeping an eye on this storm as well. This storm, there's not severe. We don't have a statement or anything on it, but it is starting to flare up, and we'll be watching that over the next few minutes. But with our severe thunderstorm warning storm, I will say the heaviest portions passing through Potterville right now. We'll be heading towards the east side of Charlotte and eventually Eaton Rapids here over the next few minutes. Storm is moving to the southeast at about 25 miles per hour there. And we'll take one more look. Velocity. And again, gustier winds over the Potterville area right now. Over towards the Whaley Drain area. It'll be passing towards the Kingsland area over the next few minutes and towards Eaton Rapids as well. Also the Petryville area, and eventually further down the line towards Onondaga. You are in the North Aurelius area. You are in the severe thunderstorm warning as well, so is Mason. But I do think the strongest portion of this particular storm at this point will be staying just to the west of your guys' area, but we are still watching. Again, for the rainfall, definitely still lightning potential of the storm as well, so do continue to remain inside there if you're in the North Aurelius area over towards Onondaga, and potentially the west side of Mason as well. So, let's take a look at another product here. The vertical integrated liquid. This helps show storm strength and potential for hail. And as you can see, we are still seeing some oranges. I don't think it's quite as impressive as it was on previous scans. Stand by here. I'll get it back to where. So you can see it really started to flare up there in southeast of the Portland area, near the Grand Ledge area. And then, as the severe warning was issued, what was a stronger potential for hail north of the Potterville area. From near Grand Ledge, we'll say Portland, near Grand Ledge down to the Potterville area, it has really begun to drop off for the most part over the last few scans. But we are starting to see that cell near the Calamo area flare up as well. As you can see, we do have some reds there, so that's another cell we'll be watching, at least for the potential of small hail, if not severe, over the next few minutes. Let's go back to reflectivity there. And take another look real quick at that.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Jacob. I just wanted to give you a heads up that I do bounce out in like a minute. I just wanted to jump in while I could and give you a hand. So if I drop off, that's why.
Yep, that's fine. I do think if the storm does continue the weakening trend we're seeing, I do have a feeling they may go ahead and drop this warning off earlier. Again, we don't make that decision. That decision is exclusively the National Weather Service's office in Grand Rapids, but that's something we will be monitoring over the next few minutes. See what they end up doing with that warning down the line.
We got a comment sent in Spanish on YouTube.
Right.
Let me see if Google Translate can work some magic here. It's been a long time since I've done Spanish.
Bear with us just for a second there. While we're doing that, I will say that the cell near the Calamo and Olivet area is starting to flare up again a little bit more. We're continuing to see a bit higher reflectivity values. In fact, I am starting to see a couple pixels around that 60 dBz, maybe 61 or so. So again, we are monitoring the increasing potential of that cell in southwestern Eaton County near the Calamo and Olivet area over towards Bellevue. Just over the next few minutes, you may start to see some small hail, potentially some gustier winds, and also increased potential cloud ground lightning as well. So do remain inside. Do get inside if you're not already there. In southwestern Eaton County, especially the Olivet, Bellevue areas, south of Calamo, and then eventually in the northeastern Calhoun County as well. Just an early heads up. This storm will be moving there over the next few minutes as well. And again, that's just an air quality alert that we do have for some of our western counties. Again, it keeps popping up there. That is something I'm going to have to resolve after this stream. But again, we do have air. We'll talk about those for a minute. We do have an air quality alert. I know it's a bit harder to read on this map, but I'll highlight it. I'll outline it here. That is an air quality alert for tomorrow, for the July 4th holiday. I'm highlighting the counties. If you're in the area I'm outlining in red here, that is an air quality alert for tomorrow. And that is, give me just one moment here. That information. Oops, excuse me. Bear with me here. And that is primarily for elevated levels of ozone expected for tomorrow along the Lake Michigan shoreline into the Grand Rapids area. So, and then ample sunshine and surface temperatures in the 80s and favorable winds. That will create the conducive environment for ozone development. So again, elevated ozone levels will result in air quality to be in the unhealthy for sensitive groups range. So again, if you should avoid strenuous outdoor activities, especially for those of you with ailments such as asthma and whatnot. You'd probably be best to avoid any strenuous activity tomorrow if you can. especially with just being hot and humid, not necessarily the best day. I know with it being the 4th of July holiday, I know with it being the amount of activities that can lead to ozone formation, that's like refueling vehicles or topping off when refueling, using gas-powered lawn equipment, and or using charcoal lighter fluid. Again, I know with it being the holiday, some of that obviously can't be avoided, but if you can kind of reduce that, that will help with the air quality. Again, this is primarily for the Lake Michigan shoreline counties from Muskegon County south and also east into the Grand Rapids metro area. Just something I wanted to pass along real quick. While that popped up, let me go ahead and clear that. Rolling, bear with me here. Okay, so we do continue with our severe thunderstorm warning there for eastern sections of Eaton County and the southwestern portions of Ingham County. Clinton County, you were in this warning earlier, but you have been dropped off with this storm pushing off to your south and east. Again, I know that keeps popping up. That is something I'm going to have to resolve behind the scenes after I conclude this update. But anyway, with the storm near the Charlotte, this storm is just east of the Charlotte area now. You are seeing the outflow boundary though, so you could be seeing winds pick up briefly there. But the strongest part of this storm is now south of the Potterville and Diamonddale areas, heading towards the Eaton Rapids area over the next few minutes. And eventually towards the Onondaga area as well. So we are still seeing some higher, just below the 60 dBz threshold, which once you get up there and above, that is starting to show increased hail potential. And actually, we just got a new update here. Dropped off a tiny bit, but still, if you're in the Potterville and Diamonddale areas, even though the storm is passing, you do continue to remain inside over the next few minutes due to the danger of lightning strikes out of the blue. We're even seeing that, especially out ahead of this storm, actually. Southwest of the Eaton Rapids area, at least on this display, we're seeing signs of lightning strikes ahead of this storm. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. And that's why when we say, when you hear thunder war, go indoors, that is why we mention that. Because even as the storms approach, it might not be raining, but you still see potential cloud to ground lightning. That can be very dangerous to those who are outside. So again, if you're in the Brookfield area, Eaton Rapids especially, Onondaga area, towards the Eden area over the next few minutes, and even the Leslie area, now would be a good time to get indoors. And we'll take a look at velocity real quick, make sure we're not seeing any signs. And while we're not seeing anything extremely concerning, if we are seeing gustier winds, it will be north of the Eaton Rapids area towards the Kingsland area. It's pretty much south of Vermontville Highway. That is where we're seeing the better signal for potential gusty to damaging winds. At this point, Eaton Rapids, you'll be seeing the rain and lightning continue to pick up and gusty winds over the next several minutes over towards the Petryville area. Let's go back over to reflectivity. Actually, we'll go to another product real quick. Vertical integrated liquid. And I will say our potential hail core that we saw earlier near the Grand Ledge and Potterville areas, that has continued to show a weakening trend. In fact, I will go ahead and what was a stronger hail core, potential hail core near the Portland area earlier towards Grand Ledge, continues to drop off overall over the last several scans. So again, maybe the storm's starting to back off just a little bit, but again, do continue to remain inside, particularly in the Eaton Rapids area. The cell's moving in your direction over the next minute or two, and then towards the Onondaga and eventually the Leslie area. Although, Leslie, you're not officially in the severe thunderstorm warning at this point. Brookfield, I will say the strongest portion of the storm is likely going to pass you just to the east, but due to the potential for lightning strikes ahead, outside of the storm, just do continue to remain inside over the next several minutes. Let the storm pass by, and then you can resume your outdoor activities you might have ongoing. taking a look at our cell, we do have a special weather statement that does continue for a few more minutes across southeastern Branch County, but I will say this storm has mostly moved now into northeastern Indiana and then eventually heading towards northwest Ohio. This cell will not necessarily be much more of a danger other than at least for a few more minutes, especially close to the state line or really south of the East Southern Road area. Do continue to remain inside for just a few more minutes in case of any road lightning strikes. But this storm is now out of Branch County and into northeastern Indiana. It looks like they did update our severe thunderstorm warning again. It continues until 5:45 p.m. for southwestern Ingham County and southeastern Eaton County. Excuse me. That's southwestern Ingham and southeastern Eaton counties until 5:45 p.m. They are continuing with the potential for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. And that is over the Eaton Rapids area now. And that will be heading towards the Charles Wharf, Brookfield, and Onondaga area eventually over the next few minutes. Current time, if you're just tuning in, is just after 5:19 p.m. If you're just joining us here, we continue with a severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Eaton and Ingham counties until 5:45 p.m. and that is for a thunderstorm we've been tracking here for a little bit as it flared up, especially once near the Portland area, near the Grand Ledge area, through the Potterville area. And while we are seeing signs that it might be starting to back off just a little bit, it's still strong enough to where the National Weather Service feels a severe thunderstorm warning is necessary, and we want you to take that seriously. So if you are in the severe thunderstorm warning polygon here in orange, that includes the Kingsland, Petryville, Eaton Rapids area. The storm's moving in now. The Brookfield area over towards Charles Wharf and Onondaga. Over towards Onondaga in the southwestern Ingham County. Do continue to remain inside, preferably on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Most preferably in an interior room, and get away from the windows as well. I will mention that if you are in the area, which I will outline here real quickly, if you are from like the Portland area, down through the Grand Ledge area, I'm outlining the area that we're going to mention here. If you are in the area I outlined here from Portland down through the Grand Ledge area into the southwest side of Lansing, over towards the Charlotte and even as the Eaton Rapids and Onondaga area as the storm passes, the Potterville area as well. If you are in the area I have outlined here and you happen to have any storm or damage reports, like if you've had hail or if you have trees down or something like that, you could send those reports to us here at West Michigan Weather. You could do that on social media, or we also have a website to where you can submit those storm reports, and that website is www.westmichiganweather.net/report. Again, that is www.westmichiganweather.net/report, and that is where you can submit those storm reports to us if you can do so safely, and we will happily pass those along to our National Weather Service partners as well. So again, if you have anything to report as the storm passed through you, especially from near the Portland area and points southeastward, over through potentially the Grand Ledge and Potterville areas over the last few minutes as the storm moved through. Again, if you have any reports to share to us, feel free to do so. Again, you could do that on social media, through our social media platforms, or also on our website at www.westmichiganweather.net/report. So I will also mention, let me clear that out. We'll mention that the cell we were watching earlier near the Bellevue and Olivet area, it looks like it only briefly flared up and is showing signs of weakening once again. So probably some heavier downpours near the Olivet area. Maybe a couple lightning strikes, but nothing severe with the activity at this time. In fact, outside of the special weather statement, even though that storm has moved out, this severe thunderstorm warning is really the only area of concern right now in our coverage area. I'll zoom out and do a general look. That is our storm we're continuing to watch. Near the Eaton Rapids area as it moves through. That will eventually push into northwestern Jackson County. We will have to see although I will say if it continues the weakening trend we've been seeing over the last few minutes. I don't necessarily know if the National Weather Service will expand the severe thunderstorm warning further to the southeast. They may opt to go with a special weather statement instead for portions of Jackson County, but again, we don't make that call. That call is exclusively the National Weather Service. And other than that, we do have maybe some showers there in southeastern Jackson County, near the Napoleon and Brooklyn area. And we also have a cell that's in Wenaway County, that's outside of our coverage area. Other than that, really not all that much going on. Just your typical summertime pop-up showers and thunderstorms that we usually have with the heat and humidity this time of year. And yeah, other than that, not too much really going on at this time. So we'll go back to what really brought us here is our severe thunderstorm warning that continues for the next about 20 minutes or so, with portions of southeastern Eaton counties and the southwestern Ingham counties. And that is for the continued potential of strong to damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour and hail up to quarter size as well. The strongest portion of the storm, according to radar, is moving through the Eaton Rapids area right now. You're likely seeing very heavy rainfall, some lightning, and probably some gusty winds as well. And that will be heading towards the Onondaga area again over the next few minutes. Over towards the Charlesworth area. Brookfield, I do think, while you should still remain inside, for no other reason, the lightning hazard, I will say I think the strongest portion of this storm will stay just to your east. But again, if for no other reason than the potential of rogue crowded ground lightning strikes, do continue to remain inside if you're near the Brookfield area as well. I will say if you're in the Kingsland area, this storm is passing you now, although do continue to remain inside. Again, for the potential of rogue crowd cloud lightning strikes, still do continue to remain inside for the next few minutes, although the storm is passing you now. Let's go over the velocity real quick. Make sure we don't have, we'll say the gustiest wind potential, I will say is passing through the Eaton Rapids area now. Petryville area. Let me go over for another radar real quick just for some additional perspective. I'm not showing a similar picture. Again, we're not showing anything extremely obviously concerning. Again, you have to excuse that air quality alert that keeps popping up. That is an issue in the code for the script here that I will have to correct behind the scenes after we get the severe thunderstorm warning out of here. So again, the gustiest winds will be towards the Eaton Rapids area right now, heading towards potentially the Onondaga area, Charlesworth area, and areas in between there over the next several minutes. Again, that is for potential of damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. So we'll go back to reflectivity though and see what we're looking at there. Let me actually take a look at our vertically integrated liquid. And again, we're still continuing to see our earlier hail core that was stronger towards the Portland, Grand Legend, Potterville areas. That continues to drop off. If we are going to see any hail, I do think it would be towards the Petryville area, over towards the east side of Eaton Rapids. In all honesty, that is the best potential for any hail. I will highlight that. And that will continue to push off to the south and east, so towards the Onondaga area as well over the next several minutes. Again, not a super impressive signal, but definitely still the potential for some smaller hail at the very least, along with the potential for gusty to damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. So again, we are continuing to watch the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for southeastern Eaton County and southwestern Ingham County until 5:45. That is about, we'll say, around 15 more minutes. And that is for the cell we have been continuing to watch over the last several minutes. What was warned near the Grand Ledge and Potterville areas continues to move off to the southeast. Heading through the Eaton Rapids area now, it will be heading to the Onondaga and Charlesworth area once again over the next several minutes. Leslie, you're not in this severe thunderstorm warning. We do have a heavier pocket of precipitation and potential lightning heading your way over the next few minutes as well in the Leslie area. Not severe at this point for you, but again, if for no other reason than the cloud to ground lightning, you'll do want to remain inside. I will say, if I look at the trends on the loop here, let me pause that. Get over there. That has flared up a little bit over the last several minutes. So that is something we're going to start watching as well there near the Leslie area. That will move south and east in the northern sections of Jackson County, over towards eventually the Rives Junction, Pleasant Lake, Munith area, over towards the Roots and Trist area, Waterloo Village, and eventually, especially the east side of Jackson as well. And we're going to watch this other cell as well as it continues to move off to the southeast. The latest scan has it still right over the Eaton Rapids area. You're still seeing the heavier rainfall, potential for hail, along with gusty to potentially damaging winds over the next several minutes as well. You can look again. Again, this is the only real strong cell we're looking at this point in time, although I will say might have some activity trying to pop up there near the Belding area in northwestern Ionia County. Let me verify that. Actually, yeah, maybe. Again, we might be seeing a shower start to pop up near the Belding area that we may have to watch down the line as well. By that. Yeah. So that's something we're going to have to watch over the next little bit as well. Again, nothing severe out of this at this time, not even close, but something we will be watching down the line as well. Again, our strongest storm, and really the only severe storm we're watching in the West Michigan weather coverage area, is across southeastern Eaton and the southwestern Ingham counties. Continuing to move through the Eaton Rapids area towards Onondaga over the next several minutes. Zoom in. We're still seeing some elevated DBZ values around 58, 59, give or take. So just under the 60 DBZ threshold, which is where we usually start seeing the better potential for hail. Again, we're just under that. That does not mean we're still not seeing at least small hail, although potentially up to quarter size as per the severe thunderstorm warning. We'll go to the vertical integrated liquid product once again. And again, we're still showing the highest potential for hail there, east of the Eaton Rapids area now. And that will be heading towards the Onondaga area again over the next several minutes. Eaton Rapids, you still might be seeing some smaller hail, along with the potential for gusty winds and very heavy rainfall, along with dangerous cloud-to-ground lightning. And once again, I will also remind you once again, even outside of this storm, so if you're in the Kingsland area, for example, this storm has passed you, but I still want you to remain inside over the next several minutes. Just due to the potential for a rogue lightning strike once the storm has passed. Any lightning strike is dangerous, whether it's within the strongest part of the storm or not. That is something you do not want to mess around with. You'll still want to be inside regardless. Again, you will have to continue to excuse that air quality alert that keeps popping up. That is a glitch in our system that we will have to resolve behind the scenes. But again, the Eaton Rapids area, that is where the strongest part of the storm is pushing through now. And that will be heading towards the Onondaga area once again over the next several minutes. Or if you're towards like the Ferris Road area, the Plains Road area, over towards Onondaga Road over the next several minutes. Waverly Road, South Waverly Road, that also acts as the county line between, Eaton and Ingham counties. You'll want to continue to remain inside, preferably away from windows in an interior room on that lowest floor of your sturdy structure. Okay. Excuse me. So, again, the Charlesworth area. Brookfield, I continue to think that the strongest part of this storm, although you're technically in the severe thunderstorm warning, I do continue to think this will stay off to your east. However, as the course of recent regret, just for the potential of a rogue lightning strike, do continue to remain inside. But really, the strongest part of this storm right now continues to be east of the Eaton Rapids area, south of the Petryville area, heading towards the Onondaga area again over the next several minutes. We'll just take a general reset of the radar once again here. As you see, the vast majority of the area, you are quiet. Nothing really going on. It is just these isolated cells that have popped up in the heat of the day that have popped up. And while we don't expect widespread severe weather issues, in fact, I will go ahead and show you here. We're not even in a marginal risk or anything like that from the Storm Prediction Center. We're just in the general thunderstorm risk. In this very light green shading. That is generally meaning that most severe weather is generally not expected on a widespread enough basis. But I will say that, like what happened with this storm earlier, we can have small mesoscale factors, just like outflow boundaries or something like that could sometimes interact with these storms and cause them to get a little bit stronger and reach the marginal severe threshold. Generally for gusty to damaging winds and smaller and hail up to quarter size. That could still happen on an isolated basis, even on these days that we don't have a risk outline for severe weather by the Storm Prediction Center. Again, just due to those small factors that can be very hard to pick up in model data. So we'll go back to radar again real quick. Oops. Okay, there we go. And again, the storm will be moving out of the Eaton Rapids area over the next several minutes, but do continue to remain inside as the storm moves out, just due to the potential of rogue cloud ground lightning strikes. The strongest portion of this storm is now southeast of the Eaton Rapids area, and we'll be moving into the Onondaga area again over the next few minutes. So if you're in the Onondaga area, you should have been inside several minutes ago. But if you're not inside yet, now is the time to get inside, preferably away from windows on that lowest floor of your sturdy structure. Most preferably in an interior room. But again, just get inside. You'll generally be okay as this storm passes through. Let's take a look at velocity real quick. And I'm still not seeing anything extremely concerning. But if you're going to be seeing any gustier winds, it's going to be near the Onondaga area and points just to the north of there. I'll take a look from a couple other radars just to make sure I'm not missing anything. But again, near the Onondaga area, that is where we continue to see the strongest potential for gusty winds, potentially damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. This warning continues now for less than 10 minutes. Get back over to the right radar. Again, this warning continues for the next 8 minutes now. For portions of southeastern Eaton County into southwestern Ingham County. And that is for this storm we've been watching with you guys here over the last little while. Really started picking up near the Portland area, near the Grand Ledge area down through Potterville. And it's now moved through the Eaton Rapids area and into the Onondaga area. Again, we're still watching for the potential of quarter-size hail and damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. And in addition to that, the heavier rainfall and dangerous cloud-to-ground lightning. We'll have to see over the next few minutes what the National Weather Service decides to do with the storm as it begins to move out of the warning area and as the warning expires. I will say, if you were to ask for my honest opinion, based on the current data we're seeing, I would tend to think, again, we don't make those decisions. Those decisions are exclusive to the National Weather Service. but I do tend to think they would opt to go with a special weather statement instead of a severe thunderstorm warning as it moves into Jackson County. Based on the data we're looking at here, like vertically integrated liquid, which again, we're still showing the potential, at least for, actually, it looks like, good news is they are going to allow the severe thunderstorm warning there for southwestern Ingham and southeastern Eaton counties. That severe thunderstorm warning will be allowed to expire at 5:45 p.m. The storm which prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits and no longer poses an immediate threat to life or property. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. However, lightning is still ongoing with this thunderstorm. So again, our severe thunderstorm warning that has been in effect over the last little while, as it comes across our warning software here, this will be falling off the board within the next few minutes, as it has been allowed to expire. So with that, I will say we are still watching the storm behind the scenes, but it is no longer severe limits heading into the Onondaga area, but still remain inside. If for no other reason than the cloud to go out and lightning. Now we'll be moving into the Tompkins area and eventually towards the Jackson area if it continues to hold together. So again, this severe thunderstorm warning will be falling off the board. It has been allowed to expire. We are watching another cell that has flared up that we were mentioning just a bit ago towards the Belding area. That will be heading towards the Ionia area over the next few minutes. And potentially another shower flaring up there in northeastern Kent County, east of the Sand Lake and Cedar Springs area. That might be heading towards eventually the Greenville area or points just west of there over the next several minutes. Again, we don't expect widespread severe weather issues today. In fact, more likely than not, that severe thunderstorm warning that we've been covering will likely be a rogue warning. But just with the mesoskit, we still can't rule out if one of these other storms could interact with one of these outflow boundaries. They could get a little bit on the stronger side and end up needing a severe thunderstorm warning for marginally severe wind gusts and or hail. Again, we do not expect that to be a widespread issue. In fact, the vast majority of you, more likely than not, will remain dry throughout the rest of the afternoon and evening. But we'll still be here behind the scenes monitoring the situation here, and I will be back with you as necessary if we do happen to get another severe thunderstorm warning or anything like that. We will also continue to have updates on social media as necessary as well. And again, if you are in the areas we talked about earlier, again, the Portland, Grand Ledge, Potterville areas, over through Eaton Rapids, if you're in the areas, in and around the areas I mentioned, and if you have any damage reports, storm or damage reports to us to pass along, please go ahead. Please do feel free to do so. You can do that through our social media pages or also on our website at www.westmichiganweather.net/report. Again, that is www.westmichiganweather.net/report. And if you want to help support our operations here at West Michigan Weather as well, we do have a place where you can submit any donations. That is www.westmichiganweather.net/donate. Again, that is www.westmichiganweather.net/donate. Again, that is completely optional. We will never require donations for severe weather coverage or anything like that. But if you do want to help support our efforts here at West Michigan Weather, you can do so there. Once again, that is www.westmichiganweather.net/donate. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and hop off the stream here for now. Again, if we do get another severe thunderstorm warning or anything like that, we'll be here with you live as conditions warrant. Otherwise, if you hear thunder war, get indoors throughout the area this evening, even though we continue to suspect that the vast majority of the area will continue to remain dry through the afternoon and evening hours of today. So this is Jacob Melton here with West Michigan Weather. Continue to monitor West Michigan Weather for updates. We will keep you advised throughout this afternoon and evening. Stay safe out there.